Guys, it's Matt here. It is Oathwire. It is late, but here we are. Robert, hello again, and good evening to you, sir.
Oh, good evening to you as well. Glad to be here.
Thank you for coming back, my co-host for this evening. And today we're going to be talking Stargrave.
Pew pew.
Pew
That's a
pew.
laser sound, yeah.
It is, yeah.
I'll be honest, I've caught myself doing that a few times as I've been painting up my crew. Just like grabbing one and going like pew pew pew. I'll be like, oh, I'm 28 and I don't know if I should still be doing this, but
That's okay.
fun.
I'm 48 and still do it. So the answer is yes. Let's go with that.
Got the approval.
Absolutely. If you can't go pew pew when we're playing with science fiction toys, what can you do? It has to happen. Has to happen. So yeah, no. So we're just going to sort of it's our first sort of jumping into Stargrave. So yeah, I know you've been playing some solo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, I just before we were recording, I got back from the game store. I got in another solo game, so that was pretty fun.
And I've been playing our club when we've been having a campaign. See who's the leading crew. So we're going to talk around that. But we're going to go for the standard and say what's new for you. So what is new for you, Robert?
Not too much in gaming. I haven't been doing a ton lately outside of Stargrave. I just started a new job, so I've been busy with that. Mm-hmm. But I have been finishing up my Stargrave crew, which has been a lot of fun. I've been going for kind of like an industrial like color scheme and vibe with them. That's been kind of fun to paint up. Cool. And also I found I don't know if you ever were familiar with the WizKids used to do, or not WizKids, it was Wizards of the Coast used to do a Star Wars miniature game like back in the early 2000s.
Was that like
it was like a collectible game, yeah.
Yeah, was it like little click things? I kind of remember something.
So they were like pre-painted. You would just buy
Yeah. I do
like random ones.
Because they did like the Attack of the Clones and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're actually almost the right size. They're like a little smaller, but you're like on the tabletop. The difference isn't that noticeable.
Yeah, I kind of remember. Do they come with cards or something like that?
Yeah, they have cards for like the own game they come with. But like without the cards, I mean they're pretty serviceable. And I just had a giant bag of these from when I was a kid, and I was like, you know what, these would be good for. It'd be Stargrave. And so I was digging around in there, and I found a little like R2 style droid. So I've been repainting that to be my drone for my crew. So that's I guess my big eureka moment for my crew this week.
Well, I mean personally, what's new for me? I got the core space set from Battle Systems.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because I thought
that's a good one.
Yeah. I just thought it'd be really cool for Stargrave. So, and also it comes with a game actually as well. So, I was putting the terrain together from that, which was super not fun actually.
It's like a cardboard.
It is, yeah. So it's
slots together.
Yeah, pre-printed cardboard. So some of the little stuff that's on there, it's a bit rippy.
It did seem a bit fiddly when because I saw the Guerrilla Miniatures game. Play through that because I was curious when it came out what it was like, so I watched those videos.
Yeah.
So I've seen it from that. I haven't seen them in person though.
Yeah, it's like they got these little chairs and stuff. They sort of sit at a wonky. Well, maybe I'm doing it wrong. I don't think so. But at wonky angles, and the boxes like crates and stuff. Once we've sussed that out to put them together, because there's no real instructions. There's more like here's some pictures. And then but it comes with this really cool 2x2 mat, and you can set up a lot of interiors. So, and they do quite a few other bits and pieces. The actual walls and all that sort of stuff is quite nice. It's just the little scenery is a bit fiddly. So,
don't like the chests like you actually in the core space game. You put like little random things in there and then open them up. That's what you find.
Yeah, so you get like all these different ammo things, and so you stick them in there, and then that's what you're trying to salvage and stuff. So actually, it fits quite nicely into Stargrave because I was thinking that'd be quite cool.
Yeah,
preload a load of stuff in there and then mix it up and then chuck it in there. So maybe that we'd do something like that. But yeah, it's quite cool. So yeah, that was. But we spent we went to play the game, and me and my mate spent basically 2 hours building the scenery, and then went, yeah, we're not playing now, because
next time
we were fed up.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I've kind of been going overboard with the physical and like data loot tokens. I think I made like 7 or 8 of each, which is like I have no idea when I'm ever going to use that many, but it is. I went through all my bits and I was like, oh, this would be a perfect data thing, or this would be a cool little chest, and like I didn't want to leave any out.
I printed a load off, so
nice.
I was like, beep, 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 beep. There was a load of. I think I found it on Thingiverse. I found some like Star Wars looking sort of bits and pieces.
Oh, gotcha.
That I thought I'd print off. There's various cases and bits and pieces. Looks really cool. Barrels by the dozen and stuff like that as well. So yeah, I did all that. I was printing those. I need to paint them. And I also got for my birthday amazing people over at Blots, who's I'm lucky enough to know the owner. And this is not paid. I went over to go and pick up some boats for Oathwire from him.
Nice.
And he gave me an absolute bucket of MDF already made up sci-fi stuff for my birthday. So so he made like he's got like there's like an MDF Viper from Battlestar Galactica. I got that. Yeah, that's really cool. I got that. I got all sorts of barrels and all sorts of terrain, scattered terrain and stuff as well. I was like really super chuffed with that. Actually, I was like, oh, thank you. Didn't need to do it. It was his it was his prototype stuff that he had sitting around. He just said, "Oh, it's your birthday." Here you go. And I was like, "Oh, thank you." So I've got that. Which I'm looking forward to painting. I'm going to obviously paint the Viper. It's going to have to be, in proper Battlestar Galactica colours. So.
Oh, of course.
Why wouldn't I do that? So, but yeah, my crew I've already had. So, crew-wise, I used all my stuff from Imperial Assault.
Gotcha.
Because I had like 400 quid's worth of, what's that? $600 worth of Imperial Assault sitting around in a box, not being played, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna use that. You go. Yeah, I'm gonna use that. It's the right size, and I don't use the Imperial Assault stuff enough, and I get to use like some pretty cool models that they've got in there. And, so
yeah, I definitely had a lot of fun, like just going through my bits box for my crew, because like I got the when they were first coming out with Stargrave, they had like the box deal, right, where you could get one of each of the boxes. So I got that. So I have one of each of them. So I have all the Stargrave bits, and then I also won a free crew box in like a raffle. And so I have like 80 Stargrave miniatures. And then I have a whole bunch of like Adeptus Mechanicus and Imperial Guard bits and Space Marine bits from 40K.
Okay.
Just a couple years ago, I went crazy on getting bits on eBay. So I just have like these big bags of like arms and heads and stuff. And so I really enjoyed how my crew came out. They have like I was going for like a cyborg vibe, where like in game terms, the entire crew is robots. So they all have like kind of like cheap, cruddy looking gas masks and like tubing sticking out of them, and yeah, I really enjoyed how they came out. It was a pleasure.
Oh yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah. I really do like the figure sets, like all North Stars they've released. It's like, do I spend another? I just couldn't justify it with. I mean, I got like.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I got a bucket load of stormtroopers upstairs. There's pirates. I've got loads of bits and pieces, so it was just difficult to go and spend more money. I didn't need to. They are lovely figures, but so I could see why people would do it. So
I have a bunch of like cobblestone casting. They have the Future Wars range. Which if anybody listening hasn't checked that out, it's amazing. I love it. I want to get all of those. But I wrote a game a long while ago that was like post-apocalyptic, like Mad Max style thing, where you'd have like your tank and then your crew, and then you'd like duke it out with other people in their tanks and their crew. And so I had it for that, and I was like, well, you know what? These are great pirates. Like they're just like, and ruffians. They're like ragged looking guys with guns. So that was a pretty worked out pretty well. I didn't end up having to get too much actually for Stargrave.
Good. That's cool.
But yeah, I'm kind of obsessed with the idea of Scratch building a spaceship. You probably saw those in the Facebook group, right?
Yeah.
In that first year or so, like people.
Yeah,
they
did all those challenges of like getting some sort of space, some sort of thrift shop junk spaceship and then doing it up. I think Scruffy Crow did one.
I'm sure.
Yeah, he did definitely, and Johnny Watson did like something. But there's loads of people did that out there. So yeah,
I've got all the bits I need. I have like a cockpit. I've got the guns for it. I've got like wings and stuff. I just don't have like a chassis, like a frame. So that's what I'm looking for. I just need that one perfect piece of trash that'll be the that'll be the frame for my spaceship.
Yeah, I keep trying to look for some sort of cheap piece of like spaceship that I can mod up, but yeah, it's going to be another one of those woulda, shoulda, coulda. So
I did find a cool little like dollar store like helicopter that I think I'm going to turn into like a gunboat, because I think if I like take like the helicopter blades off and then like fiddle around with it, I can make it look like a decent little gunboat.
yeah.
Because I want to have the starport for when I do the starport raid scenario. I want to have actual like ships. That would be so cool looking. That'd be so cinematic if you could just have like 4 or 5 actual ships just sitting there. They were taking off and stuff. So that's like the goal I'm working towards there.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, we got loads of some of the guys I was playing with had a load of kit bash stuff bits that they had sitting around. So yeah, that's definitely very thematic and looking like that. So. Have you based your crew around any sort of storyline?
Yeah, actually. So the leader of my crew is a cyborg.
Okay.
And he has no remaining limbs. So he's just kind of a torso in power armor. And he was formerly like I imagine him as like the feudal type ruler of a planet. So he was the knight of the planet, and he had his palace. You know, everyone there paid him taxes and stuff. And then he got in some sort of dispute with the pirates. They destroyed his palace, nearly killed him. You know, destroyed all of his limbs. But a passing robotics expert managed to save his life by kind of grafting him in the suit of power armor. And so that's my first mate, is the robotics expert. And so now he's just kind of like this bitter, crusty old man bent on revenge. And he's just in his suit of power armor, and the crew are basically people that he picks up that are in the same situation, like just kind of like cripples and beggars, where they're like, all right, we'll give you a spot on the ship, but you have to let us put chips in your brain and, you know, like upgrade your body parts.
Fair enough.
And so enough people say yes to that they have a crew of what in game terms are robots, but like in my head in fluff are just like cyborgs.
Yeah,
and it's important that they be robots, because kind of like my gimmick for the crew is that the first mate has remote firing.
Okay.
So she just kind of like hides behind cover. She repairs robots and then also like lets them shoot again. And so that's why it's important that they all be robots. So like whichever one she needs to shoot again can shoot again.
Oh, cool.
I'm having a lot of fun with that theme.
Yeah, I went with the heart. Well, actually, Apocalypse Now. So so the ship crew of Charlie Don't Surf. So my captain.
Is that the name of your ship then?
Yeah, Charlie Don't Surf. So that's not the ship. That's not the name of the boat in Apocalypse Now. But I just thought that'd be good. And so I've got Clean in there. I've got Chef in there. So all the chief is Boba Fett. So he's
nice.
Yeah. So he's Martin Sheen, and so character names. So everybody is basically was on the boat or in the film sort of thing. So that's why I kind of done it like it's a veteran. So Boba's a veteran, and so they're all sort of ex-military types. I've done it as so that's sort of the paint schemes around. So they can go off and do their deep strike missions or whatever, ex special forces. So that's where I went with, but they're not part of any military now. They're just off going around winning. And
What
Bobber's
kind of? Oh, go ahead, sorry.
and Bobber's doing really well.
Hey, that's good to hear. So far in my one exhibition game and then one kind of like more actual game, we're doing middlingly well. Although we have some money, so that's good.
Well, I've had some crazy luck with it, to be honest. The guys have been, when I have played, they were, I was doing some big wins. So people were getting hacked off of me, the amount of killing I was doing.
Have you? Are you familiar with the repair bot in the bestiary?
Yeah.
So just basically like a lowly little thing, terrible at everything, just has a knife. So I had 2 crew members get killed by one of those in melee combat. I ganged up on it because I figured, okay, if I'm getting the supporting bonus, and I've got 3 people fighting this one tiny little toolbot, surely I will win. And then one of them was my first mate, you know, who has combat armor, or not combat armor, heavy armor, and a hand weapon, and of course, the toolbot killed 2 sentries, as it does.
Oh dear, that's never good. So,
other than that, we did pretty well. Though. We took out 2 warbots, which that was.
yeah.
Although they did kill a gunner, and he actually did die after the game, which sucked because you know they're not cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, what is your? Oh, I should say my ship name is the Eventide. Because I think that's a really cool name. My hypothetical ship that I have yet to build. But what kind of crew composition did you go with, and what was like your thoughts on it?
So I mean, to be honest, I went with the veteran because I just thought that was Bobber, and I got the model fitting in there. And then I've got a robotic the mate's a roboticist. I like the thought of the drone because I think that's quite handy. We house ruled it a little bit in our campaign, and the drone can actually pick up treasure.
I think that was fact. I think that was errated actually that it can.
Oh, was it? Oh, right, okay.
Because like, there's nothing that prevents like logically by its description you think it wouldn't because it's described as like basically like a floating ball or whatever. But there's nothing in its description that says it can't. So I think that was fact.
Oh, right, well, that's good. So yeah, you know, it's an extra character. I always like that. So and then I've gone. I mean, because I was doing quite well and I was getting I went for the military side, like I said, special forces. So
yeah,
I stuck there. I put one hacker in because you know, and that's useful for the data. But it is about firepower. And I didn't think it would work. I just thought it'd be fun, but it does seem to really work. Maybe that's because the guys I'm playing don't necessarily all have everybody sort of geared up, but it's worked nicely. And as I've gone through the campaign, I've built up a good war chest. I've been able to add like extra specialists, so I've now got that 5th one. So I've got two snipers in my list now. So the crew's got 2 snipers, you know. So I've been doing things like that, and the power armor's been super useful. So I've been
definitely
you know, but the first mate and captain have both got power armor because I've got the skill, so I don't have to pay for it sometimes, etc. So yeah, I lent into the sort of like that genre of just like Arnie, and you know, all those things you can imagine that Arnie does, and all those bases turn up, sort of pour fire into something and then leave again. So if in doubt, blow the crap out of it is the way forward. So I genuinely didn't think it would work, but it does. So I've been super lucky so far.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you remember what your like your starting crew was, just in terms of like you mentioned you had a hacker? Do you remember what the other starting crew was?
So I had Ranger. Is it Ranger?
The Pathfinder?
Pathfinder, yes, thank you. Pathfinder, sniper, hacker. I also had just 2 normal troopers. And a robot. I had a sentry and a commando.
Oh, nice. When I initially was thinking about what I wanted my crew to be, I was planning on leaning really heavily on commandos.
All
Just
right.
because, like, they just seem like such a good package. And, like, for 300 credits, you get 4 of them, which is like your starting specialist. I was planning on going really heavy into that, and then I didn't get any because it kind of occurred to me that the remote firing plus a robot gunner is a pretty good combo. And so far, I haven't found that to be very overpowered. I feel like it's actually pretty good, just because like you have to give up your first mate's action to get the gunner to fire again.
Okay.
Viewers, I went up to turn on the light just because it's about to get dark here, and then that was a bad decision for the mic. So what I was saying was I was planning on going really heavy into commandos, just because I thought the commandos, like, they just seem like a really complete package. Like, they have the firepower, they've got grenades, they've got heavy armor, they've got the hand weapon. And for 300 credits, you get 4 of them for your starting specialists. But then I kind of went the other direction I mentioned earlier, that my crew has that gimmick of the first mate using remote firing to get the robot gunner to shoot again.
Uh-huh.
And so I guess this is like slightly controversial, not really, but like, so it was addressed in the fact that Joseph says that like his intended interpretation is that it's just a +3 shooting attack for remote firing, and that it doesn't matter what the robot is using.
Uh-huh.
And that seemed kind of dumb to me, to be honest. Just like, it's very counterintuitive that like your robot gunner has a giant machine gun, and then when the hacker takes control of them, they like pull out a pistol or whatever.
Yeah.
Or that the robot gunner and like your drone or your robot whatever, like your robot guy with a pistol, like they're all firing the same. And I haven't found it to be overpowered, just because like there's an extra layer of failure built in that you have to activate the power first, and that you are also giving up your first mate's action. So I've just been playing it as it's written in the book, which, I mean, I don't think Joe would super care. I mean, that's how he designs his games, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah.
Sorry, that was a little rambly.
No, that's cool. That's cool. So, I mean, I think the next sort of bit is, obviously people would, if people haven't played Stargrave, and what would they expect from Stargrave? People would probably immediately think, oh, well, it must just be Frostgrave with lasers. So I think, first of all, it's using the same mechanics for sure.
Yeah, it's got the same engine.
Yeah. I mean, the D20s are there, so we'll go back to the repair robots that obviously you had swing and got killed by them. But so that's there. But there are some bigger differences in there, isn't there? So
yeah, definitely. The dynamic is very much different than Frostgrave.
Yeah.
I found so far.
No, definitely. I mean, for me, the first one is, which is, I think is a big one, is the knockout blow. If you get hit by ballistic fire of 4 damage or more, you're on your bum. You get stunned.
It's a big one.
Yeah. You get jammed weapons. So if you're rolling a 1 when you're firing, your gun jams. So that can be painful. So and my experience with the ballistics is you're falling over quite a lot. I don't know about you, but
no, I've had the same one.
It's
just constantly getting knocked on their butts.
Yeah. So that's a big thing there in that world, which has obviously not been in Frostgrave. There are obviously lots of other little bits and pieces, but that's the 2 outstanding ones I can think of straight off the top of my head.
Yeah, I think just like the fact that everybody has a gun also changes the game in a lot of ways that like you wouldn't immediately think. Because like in Frostgrave, you only generally have like a couple of ranged guys. Like unless you're like really going all out on the range dynamic, you're usually only gonna have like maybe two or three at most for Warband. And so like usually you have your dedicated snipers. They go up in like the ruins, pick a spot, like start sniping people. But with Stargrave, everybody can do that.
Yes, everybody's got a laser.
So like cover Well, cover was already like super important in Frostgrave. It's even more
Mm.
important, I think, in Stargrave.
No, definitely. Yeah,
Just
I
'cause
mean,
everybody needs cover, everybody's running and gunning, and like it's a lot easier just to have your warband just kind of like blown off the table, and if you're not careful.
no, absolutely. You definitely have to use cover for vastly more than you did before. We use a lot of scattered terrain in our games, and we make sure that the rule, if you're halfway up to trying to use the intervening terrain, obviously brings that down as well. So if there's lots of bits and pieces in there, so yeah, it's definitely everybody being able to reach out and touch you is a problematic.
I think you have to think a lot more too with like just your movements, because like in Frostgrave, you could just have a guy like randomly dart out to the side to go grab a treasure or whatever. But like the second you leave cover in Stargrave, like you're just opening up yourself to get blasted by like
absolutely.
4 or 5 people.
Yeah,
and so if you have a guy step out of cover, he could be like just dead by the next like 2 or 3 rolls.
Yeah, you definitely, when you're sending somebody out, when you're not, and they're going to be standing, you need to cross that, and you can't make it. It's like, well, that's going to happen. So,
you got to take that extra
care, and you like
sidle up as close as possible.
And he's hanging out there, and you've got to hope for the best. So I had a couple of those. It's like, charge, and it makes it a bit more thematic for me as well. It's because it's like, he's dashing across the open space, and everybody's firing at him. And if you're lucky, they're all stormtroopers and miss. But
I had a sentry, so this is kind of like this is totally like my own fault. But so like at the end of the turn, like in the crew phase, I moved like a sentry out into the open because I was like, okay, in the captain phase, I'll just go out and support him with the captain and his guys. And then I just forgot about it, and I did something else with the captain and his guys. And then when I got to the phase for like the robots that I was fighting, I was like, oh wait, there's just this guy sitting out here that all the robots could see. And so they just immediately lit him up. And he went from full health to like 2 health, just just because I forgot that he was out there all by himself.
Yeah. Oh dear, that's funny.
He should have died. I was lucky he didn't.
Yeah.
Was that he got that +3 fight on the sentry came in handy.
Yeah. So the other big difference, I suppose, is that you can also skill up everybody. So all your crew can be skilled up. It's not just your wizard.
Do I skill up? Do you mean like buffing them with like a power? Or like...
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So I mean, you can. It's not like so. First of all, we've got the you've got your captain. So and the first mate, and the first mate is allowed to have different skills. So you're not allowed to. You're not slaved like you are in Frostgrave. So
you're not just like a worse version of the wizard.
Yeah. So you can improve both of those guys. I mean, they do start off. Your first mate is a little bit weaker than your captain, obviously. But if you want to spend your experience points on upping your first mate, so basically you've got 2 captains. That's something you can do. It's something I did. Brought my first mate up quite quickly. Well. Yeah.
I have 3 levels I haven't spent yet from the last game I played. And I'm thinking I just want to put them all into the first mate because like the captain's already fairly good at what he does.
And that's a big thing for me. I thought that was nice, and you can, there's the buffs, from different lasers and all the other bits and pieces. You can up armor your guys. There are, you could have everybody walking around in heavy armor or power armor, but there are limitations to that as well, speed wise and all that sort of stuff. But you can do those things. Whereas
that's actually another reason I wanted to do all robots for the crew is because there's the robotic power where you can up your robot. You can give them like +1 move, +1 fighter, +1 armor. I think there might be one other at the cost of -1 will. But like if I can up armor all my fighting guys, like definitely. That's okay.
Yeah, I mean, and you've got that. It's a nice little bit, and you've got the robots also don't suffer from injury, and they don't. So
that's honestly huge because like that means that like 1 or 2 health, they're still like they're still effective. Or it's like I'm just imagining like some regular crewman who gets stunned down to like 2 health, and then on his turn he's like what, like a -4 to do anything.
Yeah,
It's like that's a rough time.
it is, and I think So I think it's not just it's not just like sci-fi Frostgrave for sure in my world, in my head. So it's got some really good subtle and unsubtle changes to the rules. But yeah, if you're scared of if the swinginess of the D20 bothers you, it's going to bother you again. So
yeah, I was kind of. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's fine.
I was just going to comment a little more on that with like Frostgrave versus Stargrave. I was kind of thinking of like just like the different roles your wizard plays versus your captain, because like in Frostgrave, like your best fighters are usually going to be like your crew,
Yes.
or your warband, your thug, your knights or your templars.
Yeah.
And your wizard is like he's good at fighting, but like he doesn't have armor, so like you usually don't want to like risk him.
Yeah.
You're better off having him cast spells
in the back. Yeah.
But like in Stargrave, your captain is like generally by far your best fighter, unless you like build him not to be.
Yeah.
And so like you only get so many actions with your captain. So like you have all those lovely buff powers, but if he just spends the whole game buffing himself, like what is he? What is it contributed? And so like there's this balance where like maybe you want to spend the first couple turns trying to get off those buff powers, but like at some point your captain has to contribute actually to the fighting.
No, definitely. I mean, he is. Yeah, my captain is. I would try and get off a couple of bits and pieces, and then I'm off. And he's got a grenade launcher because it's strapped to his back. It's Bubba. I just need to find the armor that I can fit the flamethrower and the laser on, but obviously I can't. But he's always front and center. Because he's a veteran as well. He's got good shooting skills. So he's hitting quite a lot. He's in the power armor, which is really buffs him up as well. So he can stand there and get for a little bit longer. So, it's got so many ticks for it, so he is always in the forefront of the fighting. My second mate's now he's got power armor and he's got the multiple laser, the mini laser cannon thing. So that's that's a beef in it. So he's the long range, standing in the open and hosing everybody down guy. So
I wanted to do like a sniper rifle on my my captain, but there isn't really a sniper rifle in the game. Like, I mean, if you got like a +2 carbine or whatever, like that's basically a sniper rifle. But so I gave him a rapid fire, which like, I think is what you're saying. You give it to your second mate, just because like he's got +3 shoots, so like you can hose down 2 people that are nearby or get the +2 damage against 1 target, and so it works. And he's also in power armor. I've been using the there's that self buff power where you can like give yourself +1 armor, temporary upgrade, I think it's called, +1 armor or +1 move or whatever. And so I use it to give him +1 armor, so he's at 14 armor, which is kind of sweet. He's very tanky with that.
Yeah. So it's lots of options in there. I haven't really. I think we've got. It seems to be we've got kind of roboticists and veterans and a few, but we had any of the guys doing the psych skills, and there's some crews that we haven't got there at the moment. So it's quite interesting. I just suppose maybe we're just really super shooty club. I don't know.
Yeah, but, I want to build a second crew just so like I can entice people to play with me, and I think I'm gonna go the opposite direction, like you're saying, go with like a mystic or something.
Yeah. There's so there are definitely quite some interesting bits and pieces. Yeah. And the new bestiary, you've obviously got your normal ones, you've got but you got the pirates and lots of options for amazing lots of models again.
Definitely. There's so many different ways you can go, and like I like that like the space monsters are like fairly, like maybe vague is the right word. Like they're not like with a lot of them you can represent them in different ways. Like they're not necessarily tied to like a super specific model. Like I think there's like the giant bug one that like they use a praying mantis for, but like really you could use anything that's like big and nasty looking. And so it gives you kind of like a lot of freedom to use your existing models, like maybe bust out some monsters they use in Rangers or Shadow Deep or whatever.
Yeah, no, definitely. So yeah, no. Have you played all the scenarios yet, or have you?
So I have actually just been like coming up with my own scenarios, just because.
Right, okay.
So I'm doing like a little mini. I kind of took inspiration from like the Dead or Alive, and so
Okay.
did you ever play Fallout 4?
No.
Okay, so in case anybody listening played Fallout 4, there was a like a DLC pack for that game that was called Automatron. That was all about robots, and the bad guy in that was called the Mechanist, and he was just like this kind of like crazy guy who would just build these insane robots. And so for my like little mini solo campaign that I'm doing just to kind of get into the game is my crew trying to hunt down the Stargrave Mechanist. So he's got like all these robotic minions. So like the first mission we did was just like trying to bust into the entrance to his underground like factory base. And so we were like fighting through the ruins against I think it was a total of 10 Sentry bots, 2 war bots, and 5 repair bots. So they weren't all on the table at the same time. Like some of them were reinforcements that would arrive. But it was a really fun battle for the ruins. I really like the robots. I like how they work in this game. They feel like robots.
Excellent. Yeah. So we've been playing the scenarios in the back of the game. So they've been some fun. We did the Cloud City one, which was absolutely hilarious because first time I played it, I lost 3 characters falling off the side and all straight down holes. And
always happens.
Yep, and then there's the winds come through, and you'd think that maybe that would only happen once or twice, but between me and my gaming buddy, it happened in insane amounts of time. And we were blown around all, and I was like, it's just somehow I still won. I don't know how. We still collected stuff. Yeah, it was terrible. It was, but it was so funny. We've played. We played most of them actually. The fence one, and I really like. To be honest, I like the scenarios. They're a bit more about them than the Frostgrave ones in the original book, I think.
Yeah, they feel a little less. I guess with Frostgrave, it was always like about the treasure, and like it still is, but like it feels like there's more happening. At least in terms of the base scenarios, like because Frostgrave has like these weird and wacky scenarios in like the supplements, but in the base game, the scenarios are fairly straightforward.
Yeah,
whereas in Stargrave, like there's more going on.
Yeah, and you get experience points. You know, there's experience points. You know, like the fences. If you can turn the power off to the fences, experience points. So you picking experience points is up for interacting with the scenery and doing specific objectives within the game, which I think is quite cool. You know, like the repair bots around, taking them out, and various bits and pieces. So I think it gives you that sort of more thematic feel to it, other than just running up to the treasure, trying to survive while you're getting the treasure and running away. Because that's the other key thing, isn't it? This is not running up to the treasure and running away off for the treasure. You've got to open the treasure, or you've got to hack into the data to be able to download the data. So
yeah, I really like that change. I like that a lot because, like in Frostgrave, basically once someone has the treasure, unless you get really lucky, like you're not getting it back.
Yeah.
Whereas in Stargrave, you've got a window because they might keep failing the roll. It's not an easy roll.
Yeah. You know, if you get to a data thing and you've only got one hacker and he or she is on the other side, you know, it's okay. Well, I'm sitting here, trying to get that, the willpower, and you've got nothing to help you. It's quite important. Same with the physical loot as well. So you can. I've done it. I've seen somebody standing there for 2 or 3 turns trying to do it, and then I finally get there, shoot them in the face, kill them, or knock them over, and then roll the dice, pick it up, and scoot off with it. So which is much comic relief, not to the players I just did it to, but yeah.
It kind of adds to that cinematic feel. It's like, I mean, like, even just I can think of a Star Wars example off the top of my head, like in Return of the Jedi when they're like trying to hack into the door while they're being shot at.
Yeah.
Like it's that exact scenario, and so like you can, it adds, like you said, that there's like an element of comic relief there, where like your guy is like dodging bullets while he's trying to hack into like this stupid little computer. It makes it more lively, I think, whereas it's like maybe just like a little bit more sterile in Frostgrave. Or maybe not. It's more clean cut in Frostgrave. What's happening is like you pick up a bag of treasure and you run. Whereas in this, like you have to hack into the little computer, you have to open the box, and it's like it adds to the complexity that's going on.
No, definitely. I think it's, and it's a fun. It's just, I don't know. We've just had super fun with it actually.
Mm-hmm.
Hysterical sometimes. Just some. Yeah, it's just. I've enjoyed every game I've played.
Same.
So
yeah, there's that core gameplay loop. It feels like Joe has definitely learned a lot, because like Frostgrave at this point is what, like almost 10 years old, if not.
Is it that old?
Because it was like what, 2011, 12, 13ish when Frostgrave.
Oh, maybe. Well, yeah. Well,
I mean, I might be just.
I came to it late, so I don't know. I bought it at second edition, so. But yeah.
But yeah, it's been out for, I mean, at least definitely more than 5 years, and so it does feel like Joe has learned and like is refining that kind of core gameplay loop. And I'm actually kind of excited to see if like a hypothetical third edition of Frostgrave kind of reverse engineers any of these changes in. I'd be interested to see is all.
Yeah, I like the idea. I like the idea of the ballistic punch down, getting stunned, people being stunned and stuff like that.
It's a good change.
I think that'd be quite useful for Frostgrave, because I like that. You don't necessarily do a lot of damage, but you can knock them over, so it slows them down. Whereas in Frostgrave, you just I've taken an arrow. I'm still running. And that's if you use, and if you don't use the optional rule for injury in Frostgrave, even in second edition, it doesn't matter anyway. You just keep running until you die. So
until like you take an arbitrary amount of damage, and then you go 100
exactly.
to 0.
But whereas in Stargrave, it's like, well, when you get to this level, you are injured. When this happens, So yeah, I like the feel. I like the gameplay. Like I said, the scenarios just seem to lend themselves more to a thematic. We have had games with people running off, and I'm sort of chasing them down with laser fire, or we all run off at the last moment and just get out, and it always seems to be, it's a lot more swingy. So with that D20 and having to get the treasure and get the data and be able to get away, I've got the data jump skill. I'm
nice.
the captain, and
that's something that lets you move it between people, right?
Yeah, so you can do it. Jump it from that person to that person, and then run them off and stuff like that. What I found is we've got, you don't end up with as many bugs and thieves, so you don't. So there's a lot. You have those people if you need them, but they're not the ones doing the work like they were. They're not running up to treasure because they're not that good. And you need a will pass to do that. So you've got main characters, specialists having to do that sort of stuff. So
to be honest, I've just been using runners to get treasure, just because I've just been hoping they roll high, which is not a great plan. So they're going to get replaced.
Yes, quickly, because it's a lot easier the other way around, I think.
Definitely.
But yeah, so obviously there's the new supplement out, which is got the solo play rules in there, which I take it you've been using.
Yeah, so I have the stuff. That's what I'm planning on doing next with solo. Was once I finish my little, because like this little mechanist thing I'm doing is mostly just to like familiarize myself with the system, like make sure that like I'm sequencing things right and that kind of thing. And so once I feel confident in that, I'm going to move on to the solo campaign in the Quarantine 37 book, which does look really cool. I've read through it a few times, and I like the zombies and bugs I do like that. I do like that.
Yeah. No, it's yeah, it's the old tokens and stuff. It's very space hulky, but this has to be done. You know, aliens anyway. Because Space Hulk nicked it from Aliens, didn't they? Let's be honest.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And I actually like even going full circle. I have the Xenomorph miniatures because there's that. They did that like it's almost more of a board game than a miniature game, but they did the Aliens game a couple years ago.
All right, yeah.
And you can buy the miniature boxes separately. So
Right.
I have like 20 Xenomorphs that are just itching for something to do. And so I think I'm gonna tweak the bug rules in quarantine because like that's the only downside with the bugs is that there's like 4 or 5 different types of them, I think. And so like I don't have 4 or 5 different types of Xenomorphs. So I might homogenize them, make them like raise the floor on them, make them a little tougher. We'll see.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, for our first Stargrave episode, I think we covered a really good overview there, really. So I know you're playing more games, and I'm going to be playing more games, and we'll go dive a bit more into this. So yeah, thanks again for coming on. A couple of things that the listeners, I know we spoke about. We are still working on our Rangers of the Shadow Deep adventure. We've got mission 1 and 2 done, I believe. I know I've got a bit of 4 done, so I don't know where you are with 3, but hopefully we're going to release 1 and 2 as a starter, and then release the rest later on, aren't we? So
yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah. So
stay tuned to that. It's going to be good.
Have a look. It's Heart of Darkness. It's going to be Apocalypse Now, but in Rangers of the Shadow Deep. I think it's going to. Well, I know it's going to be good. I've seen the concepts. So
I guess one final question before we sign off, for me at least, is what's been your favorite power in Stargrave that you guys have that you didn't expect to like? Like one you just kind of took offhand and then maybe it's impressed you.
Or
just the one you like the most.
Yeah, no. To be honest, it's the I suppose my favorite I really enjoy is Command, because you get the 3. You get the 3 within the distance, 2 inches, command distance, all that sort of stuff, and it does give you that ability to roll somebody out the front and go and pick up things and activate them at the same time as the captain. I think that's just super useful. It's not. It does. You can throw your hacker up the front, get the data, and get him back quicker than, and not have to put lots more people out in danger. So I think that's the most useful one that I've used. I didn't think I just thought it'd be useful now and again, but I pretty much sure I use it in every game so far. So yeah, for definite.
Yeah, for me it's been target lock, because like I wasn't super impressed with the cyborg powers, and I was kind of like, all right, I'll take 3 of these so I can take 2 other ones. And then I just took target lock because because none of the other ones were useful. Like power spike doesn't work with a rapid fire gun, so there's no point in taking it. But target lock actually kind of surprised me, because like the fact that like it makes your grenades a lot more likely to hit the spot that you want them to, and it doesn't matter if you can see it or not. And so like unless I'm like reading it wrong and misremembering, but like you could just like huck grenades over walls and stuff. And so like it makes, and I think it increases the range too, even if I remember correctly. And so like I've used that multiple times in every game I've played, and it's impressed me every time. And just that little extra range and like that more likelihood of hitting spots that you can't see makes it a lot easier just to kind of like punish enemies when they're grouped up.
Yeah, definitely. And then you obviously got the flamethrower as well. That's cool. Who doesn't like the flamethrower?
It is nice to be able to like cower behind a wall and still hurt people.
Yeah. The best one we had was we playing the terrain as it is, and one of our guys has got squats.
Nice.
Yeah. And we were playing with GW. We got a lot of GW scenery at the club, so we put that out because we didn't have anything else. And yeah, the squats were all too small to see over the walls where the windows and everything were. So it was like, so he had to come out. He had to, if he wanted to shoot, he had to come out from behind the cover. So that only happened once, but that was hilarious. It's like, I can't, the bottle's up next to it, I can't see across. It's like, yeah, you can't.
I have a rattling sniper. I think he's going to have the same issues.
Right, yeah.
He's only like half an inch tall.
You just have to find that right place for him. That's the key. Yeah. So, but yes. So yeah, thanks for coming on tonight. Thanks for
no problem. Glad to be here.
Covering Stargrave with us for our first episode, and I just want to say good night, good afternoon, and good morning wherever you are.